Hi, everybody. This is Kelly McKinney Golden, and I am presenting my case study for EDL 850, School Law with Professor G, and we are discussing internet use violations. So, category 1 is the problem and identification and analysis. So, what do I know? Dr. Harvey Smith is principal of Slattery Steno High School. He's been principal there for about 9 years. He's also received Principal of the Year award about 2 years ago for his outstanding leadership in that community. Slattery Steno is an affluent community, a lot of parent support, a lot of parent involvement. And what we also know is that Miss Tate is a new teacher who's struggling kind of translating the world of academia to the classroom. So she has a lot of academic background, undergrad degree, master's degree, postgraduate work, but is really having difficulty making it accessible and engaging for students in the classroom. What do I know continued? Principal Smith is already aware of the student stress level in Miss Tate's classroom. He's received numerous complaints about Miss Smith from parents. He has tried to coach Miss Smith on interventions to improve, but at this point they haven't been more successful. And most immediately at this point, Miss Tate has received an email of a threatening nature, and she's highly concerned about it. Students sent an email saying who would like Miss Tate to disappear, and now Miss Tate is concerned about her safety. What do I need to know? I need to know a little bit more about the previous attempts to intervene with Miss Tate. I know it was mentioned that Principal Smith has tried to intervene before. I'd like to know a little bit more about those strategies and what that looked like. I want to know specific complaints about Miss Tate from the parents. Other than she's a tough teacher, I just want to know a little bit more. I want to know if an investigation by the district technologist is possible, what that would look like. I'm familiar with how that would work, but I want to know what would be available within that district. I'd also want more information on why Miss Tate feels that it's William Hall that is the student that is targeting her, get a little more information on that. And I also want to look at the student records in Miss Tate's classes, see if there are any conduct flags for previous internet violations. Identifying the problem. So I see the problem really as a three-pronged problem. There's an overall problem, an immediate problem, and continuing problem. The overall problem is how to support a struggling teacher. Miss Tate is struggling, again, transferring all of her academic knowledge to the classroom. How do we support that? Then how am I going to immediately investigate the threatening email? And then how am I going to continue to support Miss Tate, not only as a teacher, but support her in feeling as a safe staff member? Category 2, my proposed plan of action. So how do I investigate and address this threatening email? So Dr. Smith should definitely talk to Miss Tate in the morning face-to-face. She received the email and she immediately made a phone call, and she was, highly concerned because it was right after she had seen that email. So in the next morning, kind of see what her thought process is. Maybe she's thinking a little more clearly, obviously still upset, but really wanted to meet her in person and assure her that this is going to be taken care of. Want to reach out to the district technologist to investigate. I think this is really a simple investigation. The district technologist should just be able to trace the IP address and see where the message came from. So it doesn't really have to be a big ordeal. They can clearly see who sent that message and then be able to question that particular student or group of students if it may be. I'd also want to arrange for the dean to review the students' conduct records in Miss Tate's classes. If the school district has a threat assessment program, if there have been any previous internet violations of a threatening nature, those should be flagged in the system. And so that would come up on a student's conduct record. So all of that information, including the district technologist investigation, should be really readily available within the district, depending on their capacity. So immediate problem continued. I'd follow up still with Miss Tate's identified student, William Hall, just to get more information from him. Want to just kind of speak to him about his class, speak to him, about what has been going on in class, see if he's willing to volunteer any more information. I would really kind of pose that as coming from me and not necessarily Miss Tate, that she hasn't necessarily identified him, but just wanted to see his perspective on what's going on, and explain what's being investigated. And then also following up with his family that I was talking to him about this investigation, And again, if it happens to very well be William, when we use the district technologist information, contacting the family and having a meeting around the severity of sending a message like that. And again, if there's a threat assessment protocol in place, all of that should be part of that as well. Continuing problem is how to support Miss Tate and a struggling teacher in general. I want to approach Miss Tate in a supportive manner. I want her to feel that I do want to address kind of the nature of the email, that it is threatening, even if it is in a not in a direct, in an indirect way, but really taking her feelings into account. Want to be able to give her professional development to improve her instruction. And I think this can be also done with colleague observations if there are strong teachers in her area within the school, having her do some observing, and also kind of, hooking her up with a teacher mentor. Maybe the interventions and strategies and coaching that has come from the administrator hasn't been taken to light because she's seeing more of it in an evaluatory manner, but maybe coming from a fellow colleague, she might be more apt to apply and try those new strategies. Category 3, promoting student success. I think it's really all about relationship building. Your staff needs to be supported, your families need to be included, and the students need to feel that they are heard. I want to make sure that Ms. Tate understands that the principal is taking it seriously. If a bigger discussion has to happen around the student investigation, that of course the parents are included. And I want the student to feel that they're being heard as well. I don't want the student to feel like they're being targeted. I want to take in their perspective about the incident as well. Debriefing the problem. What was I thinking, feeling, and valuing? I was thinking about blending my training as both a counselor and the role as an administrator. I think that is an advantage that I have, being able to blend those two worlds and really kind of look at things from the lens of both a counselor, an administrator, and a teacher, having been a classroom teacher before, and be able to really do that. Feeling that I needed to help and support Miss Tate. She's a new teacher, so getting a message like that is especially disarming. But then also she's struggling in the classroom as well. So maybe her reaction is escalated a little bit because she's already struggling and not knowing how to improve. And again, the value of importance of not jumping to conclusions. Just because that one particular student was named, doing really a full investigation so that any one student doesn't feel like they're being targeted, and also making sure that that student feels heard and supported. Unresolved issues. What about the other parent complaints? Are there been any staff interactions with Miss Tate? How can her colleagues maybe help support her? What if Miss Tate doesn't improve? And really how to address relationship building in Miss Tate's classroom. With some PD around the pedagogical instruction within the classroom. That's something that I think can be done really easily, but then she probably needs some coaching around relationship building with her students in the classroom as well, just to make the information she's presenting that is more high level, more engaging and accessible for her students. Reflecting on the standard. So I want to promote academic success. Identifying student family needs, connecting always back learning to the classroom. When working with Miss Tate, I want to make sure that I'm supportive. So I'm really highlighting her successes in the classroom and kind of putting them as successes to scale from her classroom interactions, and being sure that the parents understand that as well, encouraging parent involvement and increasing communication overall. I want to assure that parent and family's best interests is always in the students. And again, I want to support Ms. Tate in her classroom, more training, more coaching, more professional development, and more mentoring. If the teacher is feeling more supported and confident, then the students will be better served. And enhancing instructional capacity, increasing structured and supported communication, valuing other opinions, recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of the teachers and being able to support them, and really trying to support Ms. Tate's interests around instruction. So that is my presentation, my case study for EDL 850. It's been a really enjoyable class, really a lot of great really interesting information. And I kind of wish that I didn't take it all scrunched all into one, but it was definitely worthwhile. So thank you so much.